and welcome to Georgie's Gundogs at Trails for Tails Dog Training. Okay, so in this video we are going to talk about settling in environments. It's one of the biggest things that I get people having problems with. I can't get my dog to focus, I can't get my dog's attention, the area that's just more interested in than I am. And there's a number of reasons why this can be. But I am going to teach you a little exercise that I do to settle my guys in, or dogs that struggle to settle in environments, because some dogs just can't work straight off the bat until they learn them skills on how to settle and build value in that environment, learn how to think in that environment, learn how to settle. There's a lot of factors of why dogs don't settle in environments that I have spoke about before, but I'll go over again. You know, a lot of time with these Gundog breeds, the environment, they want to hunt it, they want to be out there. There's a lot of senses. Their nose is going mad. They can smell everything in sight. You know, they can see everything, movement, you know, life, everything from wildlife, everything that they're taking in. And sometimes we're asking them to work straight off the bat. For some of them who have not got that skill or struggle, it can be really challenging, and it can be quite challenging as well for the owner. You know, you're wanting to do something, you're wanting to engage the dog, and they're just like, I can't look, I'm not looking at you, I'm here, I'm everywhere, or it's just all so much. You know them dogs, yeah, or them handlers are going, huh? And then we're saying their name, we're trying to get their attention. It's the worst thing possible. Dog's ignoring you, not happening. So we have to look at a few factors. Firstly, before anything, when you're taking your dog to a new environment, you need to make sure they're well rested. They've not had a hard day the day before, or they're overtired or anything like that, or they've had a chase or anything like that. You want them right at baseline to start this. But this exercise helps dogs even if they have been through some of them challenges, because you're giving the dog time to settle. And a lot of the time I work with a lot of high prey drive dogs. I don't just do the Gundog. I also a lot of people sometimes come to me with difficult dogs who've got high prey drive, fixate on stuff like that, and they want to do the Gundog, but they first want to look at stuff like this. And I don't just deal with the problem in right there and then, or what is it, right, take them straight to it. We have to start layers in to build them up. And a lot of time people don't let the dog take the environment in. A lot of time people are expecting dogs to work straight off the bat. I can read if my dogs need a warm up or if they don't need a warm up. Majority of time now, because they're just used to going to places and doing stuff, it's needed less and less. Some dogs that I've had have needed more. I remember Barry back in the day, even on a shoot I had to settle him in, where you get other dogs who just work straight off the bat. Well, he just wasn't one of them dogs. He had to take everything in, he had to process it. I'd turn up early to settle him in. I always turn up early with mine anyway to warm them up. I like to warm my dogs up even before shoot days, because it gives that dog a chance to work on a few things and them to take everything in instead of just going bang, here we go. But they could also do that now. They're at that level where they can do that. But for me, I just like to get the best headspace I can with that dog, because I'm going to get a better working dog, I'm going to get a better relationship, and I'm also going to have a dog that can think better. If they can think better, they're more likely to going to listen to me, and they're more likely not to make errors. So that's the biggest thing. And so when I have these new dogs or dogs that are finding the environment challenge, I've got to think, right, I've got to settle them in first. I've got to find an area that's suitable. I'm not saying, you know, you have to start this at home, but there'll be some dogs who even struggle listening in the garden. So you could do this in the garden. You'd be amazed how many dogs actually struggle in the garden. I know a lot of people say, you know, oh, my dog's great in the garden. Well, there's some who actually can find the garden. Depending on your type of garden, you've got one that's full of wildlife or full of a lot of smell, scent, stuff like that. You know, for some dogs that's a real challenge. And also the garden can be challenging sometimes, because it's the place that a lot of people let the dogs just run riots instead of doing something with them, so it becomes associated with that. You got to remember, dogs are not natural generalizers, so they learn by basically taking this in this area, or this thing I do this is what I do with the owner. So you've got to think about these things. So when I first come to that area and I can see the dog might be looking a bit, because sometimes this is when it happens when the pulling comes in or anything like that, it's just like, oh, everything's too much. Even down to lead work, this exercise will help. I like to warm up, and I call this exercise calming circles, and it's an absolute cracking exercise. And some dogs will settle straight in a lot quicker in this exercise than others, you know. And but what this does is, because you're staying on a certain point in that area and you're building up by going around these two posts, or you'll find two, like let's say pieces of grass, and you'll find A to B, and you do like an oval shape round them, and you just keep walking. You just keep walking. They might pull you, they might this, they might that, but then at the end of the day, that dog will eventually look at you and go, what are we doing? And then that's when I'd start. Yeah, I start engaging with the dog. I start rewarding the dog for checking in with me, and then I just keep walking till I get real connection. Once I've got that connection, then I might ask for a couple of basic behaviours: a sit, a down, a hand touch, because that will tell me if that dog is starting to think in this environment. Can it listen to me? Can it listen to real strong cues? Because if it can, then it's more likely to be able to train with me in this environment. Like I said, a lot of people don't give dogs a chance to come in. There are some dogs who come to my one-to-ones, and the first thing we always do is get them into calming circles. Then, before you know it, we're not even doing sometimes calming circles. It depends on the dog. Young dogs, might be a bit boisterous, might be a bit this. It's not even about just the environment. There'll be some who are just in life, and they just need to go, right, let's take a minute, let's breathe, and let's bring you back down to baseline. Okay, let's get you down, let's get you thinking. And it just gets them to settle. It's so important we give some dogs a chance. Not everybody's dog has had from the day one, or known how to do from day one, how to get that dog to connect all the time with them or settle with them or anything like that. And they're thinking, I really need help, how do I do this? And this is a great way of doing it. So when you, like I said, when you set this up, make sure your dog's, you know, not had like loads of stuff leading up to like, right now I'm going to do it. Give your dog a bit of time, give him good rest, okay, before you start anything. Like I said, especially if your dog's had a chase or something the day before, or they've just absolutely blown their head, they're probably not down baseline. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say there's a chase, take up to 92 hours for them to come down off that dopamine. 92 hours, and then we're asking them to head out there again and listen to us. Get them down, get them to baseline, let's start again. So if you're watching this or you're following this, think about where your dog's head at. But if your dog's at a normal head, but you say, oh, still struggles in environments, but we haven't done anything much, this exercise again is perfect. It's perfect for all of it. Okay. Now some will say, oh God, it looks mad, and I can see people don't, and like this, I could see some of my owners when I first ask them to do it, like, bloody hell, gets the owner before the dog, because it's also sort of controlling you, because you've got to manage you're waiting for the dog as well as the dog waiting for you. You know, you're waiting for that dog to settle so you can engage, but it will only come faster once they start learning. Boom, they're on it. Like I said, after a while some dogs just don't need it, it's just stopped. But it's one thing I do with all my groups is in the first 5 minutes while I'm setting stuff up, I go and settle yourselves down. They'll be doing the calming, so then they start asking for babies. Before you know it, they're training the dog, but they've warmed the dog up. I don't like just throwing them straight into a group. They always have a warm-up session, and I know others who do it as well. Get your dog warmed up. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you what this exercise is and talk you through it. Okay, my dog will probably likely settle pretty quick on it. They know it. I'm using young Jimmy for this. Jimmy can actually be more sometimes environment driven than Sid. He's probably actually more into even more hunty than Sid. So, and especially now he's older, he's really like, oh, I want to hunt this and I want to hunt that. So there are some environments, especially in any group situations or training with friends, he's like, whoa. So I usually, if they go off and do something first, I go in the background, I'll settle him down, get him focused, and this is what I do with him, okay, whether it woods, anything. And I still do this on shoot. My dogs have been quite high energy, or something's gone really full on in them in the beating line or picking up. I go and test them for 10 minutes and go, right, can you just settle down? Can you still re-engage? Can you do some cues? I always test cues, because if a dog can't do a cue after something or in a certain environment, I know we're on the edge, and then there's a likely that something could happen. So this is the calming circles, and this is how I train it. Enjoy. All right. Okay, so here we are to show you how we do the calming circles. And as you can see, I've got my 2 posts out. Like I said, you can buy a little post. Jimmy's a bit distracted, but this is perfect. This is what might happen. They might pull and not be interested in you at the moment, wanting to be in the environment, want to be doing. So I've got my 2 posts out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk round them, and I'm just going to keep going round them. There'll be a point where Jimmy will look at me going, right, what are we doing? That's when I start rewarding. Okay, so I have my food on the side where I want the dog at. I'm going to have the lead across me. So also, like, this is great for lead work and stuff. This is one exercise you can use. You've got a dog that pulls straight away out the house or down the drive or whatever. You can set this up, warm up before you start walking, and then you've got them connected for your lead work. Like I said, also before you're going to do some training in more different environments, woods, different covers, fields, anything like that, and you're thinking the dog's quite overwhelmed, these are really good for it, okay? And I love these, like I said before. One of my old dogs, Barry, he used to even love it on the shoe. He used to do this on the shoe, and then he'd even do it off lead. He loved it that much. He'd actually put himself into position he could do it off lead, because he's like, right, I'll just set myself down warm. And it used to become a little habit. He enjoyed it. These do it as well now. And I use it a lot with him, especially in group situations, which you can find overwhelming. I take a little step back from the group, settle him in, and warm him up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around these 2 posts, and you're going to watch me reward the dog when he checks in with me. And you want a good solid check-in. Mark it, reward him, okay? Try not to also remember what you're paying for. You're paying for that check-in, that engagement, the dog disengaging from the environment. You're not paying for other stuff, you're paying for that. Stand still when you pay. This resets the dog and yourself, then set off again. Sometimes if you pay on the move, are they really engaging with it? You also are they, and then they're going to, a lot of them sometimes disengage. It also helps you learn a bit about your lead work. So take your time. Also stand with them a bit as well. Once they start getting into it, this is what you want to do. Practice doing nothing in between it. So you set them down. Can they sit with you for 5-10 seconds, a bit longer? Then once I get in some real solid check-in, some real solid connection, not pulling, not disengaging, because they will do that, some of them off the bat. And you've got to remember, guys, not everyone's going to do it in 5 minutes. Some are going to take longer. I've had some dogs 10-15 minutes in the field, and then they've suddenly just connected in. Some dogs take a lot longer. They've got to take that environment in as well as everything before we start asking them to work. All right, so off I go. So I'm going to start walking. As soon as he looks at me, I'm marking yes. I stand still and I pay. Then I head off again. I'm not asking for heel, I'm just walking. Yes. So Jimmy does know this well, because I use it a lot for him. So just walking again. Yes. Keep walking. Now in the early stages, I'm going to pay a lot. But then what I'll do is I'll start doing a whole length without paying. Can they stay connected with me? You're probably saying, oh, I don't want my dog always looking when I'm walking. No, but this is not about this. This is about settling the dog in, getting them to start working. Yes. Yes. So let's say I'm progressing on. I've got a few check-ins. I'm going to do a whole length. Yes. 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 Now, like I said, there are going to be some dogs who are going to not even look at you. So take this with a pinch of salt as you're watching me. I have a dog here that does this regular because he's now used to it. That's why this is what will happen though. This is what you'll get. You do this regular with your dog before you start your train or going out before you're walking them. They'll start getting quicker at connecting with you because they know what's coming. All right. So what I'm going to do now is do some again, and then I'm going to start asking for behaviours that can he offer me. Okay. Is his brain engaged? Can he engage in this environment? I'm going to progress again and see if I can get a full circle and then pay him. Got real nice connection here. Yes, good lad. All right. This is another thing you want to practice, that sit and stop. So he sits with you, get him used to it. When you stand still, they stand still. Stand with him a minute. Are they looking at it like, right, what are we doing? Okay. So we go again. This time, I'm going to ask for a behaviour. Sit. Middle. Yes. Sit. Spin. Spin. Yes. So it's showing me he's ready to work. That's what it's showing me. Right. Things are happening. Right. Yes. Good lad. We are engaged. We have a dog that's working. We have a dog that's listening to cues. Touch. Yes. Sit. Yes. Yes. And these are little things I'd be looking for, dead simple things that I know he's good at. So if he's offering me these nice, even little mini sit stays, can he do a little sit stay? Could drop the lead a minute, boom. And if I've got a dog, okay, this is an important one. If I've got a dog that's took a long time to settle, but there's offered one behaviour, I wouldn't ask for loads like that. I would go, right, I've got one, sit, yeah, got it, move on. Reassess them. Get that engagement back. Sit. Middle. Here we go again. Right, so if it's that quick. And then I'd get longer, ask more. And then I'd say, right, we'll stop. Now we'll go and do what I was going to do, whether that a retrieve, hunting, some other stop whistle, whatever. I'd go, right, now I've got a dog engaged. I'm going to go and do what I wanted to do in that environment, okay? There might be some dogs just about you getting them to settle in the environment first before you do the big stuff. It might not be you can't lead on to. Because this is tiring, believe you me, because you're getting them to engage, getting them to take the environment, everything like that. So give them time, build your dog up in everything, build your dog up for success, all right? So that is calm in circles.